What's going on, everybody? This is Aram, your fellow young real estate agent in the Chicagoland area. So a couple days ago, I made a video about one of my biggest mistakes I made as a real estate agent when I got into business. And that mistake was going way too wide with my marketing and not narrowing it down and focusing on a specific section of the market and specializing in that area. So today, we're gonna figure out exactly how to narrow down your market and actually figure out which areas you should focus in and what's going to be best for you. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm literally going to share with you the same exact calculations I did to decide exactly what market I want to work in. And then hopefully you can see what I did for myself, and then you can apply it, do the math in your area and make a decision. It'll be a lot easier for you. Because for me, before I did the math, I was tossing and turning. I couldn't figure out which market I wanted to focus in. But after I did the math, it was obvious, and you're gonna know right away. Let's get started. So I literally took an MLS sheet, because this is all random. I took an MLS sheet, flipped it around, and started taking some notes down of to two different markets that I want to focus in. And one is Schaumburg, so let's write it down. And the other one is gonna be a city called Elmhurst. Okay? I live in Schaumburg, and my office is in Elmhurst. So this is why these two markets are being considered. Let's go over some of the things I looked at. I looked at the number of sales in the last 12 months. So in Schaumburg, you had 1,300 sales. In Elmhurst, you had 630 sales. Right there, there's more opportunities in Schaumburg for me to grow my business and actually get business, right? Because there's simply more transactions. So from here, I'm leading towards Schaumburg. And then I go to the average sold price. So the average sold price in Schaumburg is about $225K, right? Because there are a lot of starter homes and townhouses, things like that. In Elmhurst, however, the average sold is $505,000. So here was what I was thinking. More transactions, so more opportunities to get business, but making less money, right? Less opportunities to get business, but when you do get business, you make essentially double the money, right? So I'm doing half the work for twice the money. So that's where I'm at right now. The next thing I looked at is how big is each section. Schaumburg has about 80,000 people in there. Elmhurst is sitting at about 45. Now, if you remember what I said in the last video, it's all about picking a pool that's not too big and it's not too small, but there's enough transactions for everybody to eat. Now, 80,000 people is, for me, I feel it's a little too big anyway, right? Especially with 1,300 transactions. I know it's a lot, but to do 80,000 people get their attention, it's going to cost me a lot of money that I don't have. So right now, the population is winning on this side. The sold price is winning for Elmhurst. It's just this right here, the transactions for me are winning in Schaumburg, right? So let's keep it moving. I'm gonna do some pros and cons. In Schaumburg, less time on the market, right? More time on the market for Elmhurst. I'm like, okay, so let's look at the facts here. We have Schaumburg is where I live, Elmhurst is where my office is. Schaumburg has 1,300 transactions every single year, whereas Elmhurst has 630, so half as many transactions. But the average sold price in Schaumburg is $225, whereas the average sold price in Elmhurst is $505. So half the transactions, but twice the value of the home. 80,000 people live here, so it's going to be more expensive for me to get attention here, whereas 45,000 people live here, and the transactions are going to be higher value. I'm like, okay, well here, houses sell in less time, where here we have about 97 days on market. So that's not appealing to me. Now the final, this is literally what I wrote. I wrote and then I wrote excites me, right? When I was making my decision, I like luxury real estate. It excites me. So Elmhurst has a lot of multi-million-dollar properties over here. That's why the price tag is so high. Whereas Schaumburg, the most expensive house you could really get is going to be in the $600,000-$700,000 range. It's doesn't excite me. So far, if you look at this diagram I've set up, Elmhurst is winning for me. And if I look at these numbers, it's really, really easy for me to make that decision. Now, I'm about to change the game. All right, I'm back, and I got a couple of new things on the board, and this is what made my decision clear-cut, so easy. It made the decision for me. Okay, here's what I did. I'm like, okay, A very reasonable goal to go for is 5% market share. If I can get 5% market share in a year, that's good for me. So I'm like, okay, 1,300 deals, 5%, that's 65 transactions for me. 630 sales, 5%, that's 31 transactions for me. So pretty much here I'm doing twice as many deals in terms of transactions. So now let's do the math in terms of commission and see exactly how much I would make from these 65 deals and these 31 deals, taking into account the average sold price. Okay, I had to whip out a calculator because I forgot the math. Okay, so if I was to focus in Schaumburg, which is a bit of a bigger market, 5% market share is 65 deals. That would generate me $365,000 and some change in gross commission. Whereas in Elmhurst, 5% is 31 deals, and that generates me $391,000 and some change in gross commissions. Now, the reason this is higher is obviously the average sold price is higher. So I'm looking at these numbers and I'm saying, okay, here I can handle 31 deals a year on my own. I don't need an assistant. I don't need anything. I could do 31 in my sleep, right? So I'm like, here, I don't have to hire anybody. I'm doing half the work and I'm getting an extra $30,000 back in forms of income, right? Whereas over here, 65 deals is a lot. And I would have to hire an assistant. That's about $40,000 off this gross. So I looked at those numbers and I'm like, this market is more exciting. I'm doing less work. I'm making more money. The houses are nicer. It's a smaller market. It'll be cheaper for me to get attention and actually get business. So it was easy for me to say Elmhurst is the market that I'm going to go with. So if you're struggling figuring out exactly what market to focus on, I really recommend you do the same math I just did, and it'll make your decision so much easier. Take a look, pick out 2 to 3 areas that you really like, that you have some knowledge in, and do the numbers. Find out how many people live there, how many transactions happen, what's the average sold price, how much is it going to cost you to get people's attention, blah, 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 blah. And once you do the numbers and you get to a point like this, the decision is made for you. I would have to be an idiot to do twice the work for essentially $70,000 less money, because I'd have to hire an assistant in this scenario, right? So if once you do the math, life is easy. I hope this video was helpful for everybody. Thank you again for watching. You guys have a great day.